Do you think decluttering alone is enough to have a tidy home? Wrong. The truth is you are stuck in things no one talks about. And today, I will share 7 harsh truths that a close friend of mine, a retired nurse after 35 years of work in Wichita, Kansas, has drawn after a lifetime of living among mountains of stuff. In this video, you will learn why cleaning alone will never be enough, why decluttering is hard, but living in clutter is harder, why your children truly do not want to keep your things, and why there is no secret except action. These are not pleasant words but truths that many have paid a high price to realize. If you dare to stay until the end of the video, I believe you will forever change the way you see decluttering. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe if you find this content helpful. Your support is the motivation for us to continue sharing more meaningful things. Thank you for being here. Margaret Collins is now 62 years old, living in Wichita, Kansas, and is a nurse who retired after 35 years of working in the local hospital. When she was young, Margaret was just like any other middle-class American family, going to work with a stable income, shopping freely, and believing that a bigger house and more things were a sign of success. She and her first husband started with a small apartment, then bought a larger house when they had children, and the stuff kept piling up. When her parents passed away, she brought home dozens of boxes of keepsakes, from the living room furniture to old letterboxes, and soon the house became a storage place for 3 generations. With her nursing career, Margaret often witnessed elderly patients falling just because walkways were blocked by boxes, or feeling exhausted because of dust built up in closets. Each time she asked herself, "Am I walking down that same road?" After long shifts coming back to a suffocating home, she felt more tired than in the hospital. Margaret said she tried many times to declutter, but always failed, because she only treated the surface and never the root. Only when she retired, having time to reflect, did she decide to begin the decluttering journey. She shared with me that this is not just about tidying a home, but a healing journey, so she can live the rest of her life lighter and safer. And from this lifetime experience, Margaret concluded 7 harsh truths that I'm about to tell you. Harsh truth number 1: decluttering alone is not enough. My friend Margaret Collins told me this with great certainty. She said that for many years she also tried to clean like everyone else, gathering old clothes, donating a few boxes, scrubbing a room until exhausted, then sighing with relief. But just a few weeks or months later, the house was full again. It felt like going in circles. Nothing changed. Margaret used a professional example to explain. She said, if a patient has a broken bone and the doctor only gives them a band-aid, without a tear, cast or splint, that wound will never heal. A one-time declutter is like a band-aid. You treat the surface, but the root cause remains. That is why Margaret believes decluttering accounts for only 25% of the journey. The remaining 75% lies in 4 pillars that she calls the 4-legged table. If one leg breaks, the table falls. The first pillar is inflow, controlling what comes into the home. If you keep shopping endlessly, all decluttering efforts return to 0. The second pillar is outflow, maintaining the habit of taking things out regularly, not letting them pile up. The third pillar is systems, setting up clear storage systems so every item has its place. And the last pillar is mindset, a new way of thinking. Not keeping things for maybe, but asking, do I need it today? Margaret recalled once she had cleaned the living room, scrubbed the floor, rearranged chairs, but just 3 months later, her daughter brought a box home, her husband bought another table, and the room was crowded again. She realized she had not controlled the inflow. And this is the first harsh truth she wanted to convey. One-time decluttering is never enough. If you do not change your lifestyle, the house will always return to the same. Harsh truth number 2. Everything is hard. But you get to choose your hard. Margaret told me that many people complain that decluttering is too tiring, energy and time wasting it, but then they accept living in a cramped, messy house, every step inconvenient. She once witnessed a patient fall in her own kitchen, just because the walkway was blocked by an old carton box. After that fall, the elder had to stay in the hospital for nearly half a year. And what haunted Margaret was that just decluttering could have prevented it. She said clutter keeps the body in a constant state of hidden stress, as if the brain is always on alert. You sleep poorly, feel exhausted, and have a higher heart rate, without realizing the cause is your environment. That is why she said decluttering is hard. But living in clutter is much harder. To change, Margaret created for herself a challenge called the Impulse Spending Journal. Every time she wanted to buy something, instead of swiping the card, she wrote down the date, the price, and her feelings. In just 1 month, looking back, she realized more than 90% of the things she wanted no longer mattered. Thanks to that, she saved nearly $1,000 in 4 weeks. Margaret emphasized that life always has its hardships. The question is, which hardship do you choose? Do you choose the hard of spending a few hours decluttering, letting go of what you do not need, to gain freedom? Or do you choose the hard of living forever in a house that makes you tired and puts you at risk? For her, the lesson is clear. Choose the hard that brings safety and long-term relief. Harsh truth number 3. Use it or lose it. Margaret shared that for many years she kept almost everything, from her daughter's childhood doll collection, her late husband's shirts, to dozens of pots and pans she never used. She thought keeping meant preserving memories. But in reality, those items only made the house cramped and her mind heavier. With her nursing experience, she once met a patient who kept 15 pans, while only using 2 every day, the rest just gathering dust and taking up space. When she began her decluttering journey, Margaret set a rule for herself. If an item has not been used for a year, or when looking at it does not bring joy, it must go. She kept only 1 doll of her daughter, the 13th birthday gift, but gave away all the others to a local charity. She kept 1 shirt of her husband, the shirt tied to their last family beach trip, and donated the rest to those who needed them more. Margaret said that the first time she let these things go, she cried a lot. But after the tears came a true sense of relief. She realized memories live in the heart, not in piles of stuff. And more importantly, when given away, those items continue to bring value in another home, instead of rotting in a closet. This is the 3rd harsh truth. If you do not use it, let it go. Do not let your home become a museum of memorabilia that no longer serves a role. Harsh truth number 4. No one wants your stuff. Margaret said this is a very painful truth, but the older she got, the clearer it became. For many years, she believed her children and grandchildren would want to keep her parents' wooden furniture, her grandmother's jade bracelets, or the bookcase she was once so proud of. But when she asked directly, her granddaughter just smiled and said, "I don't even know where I would wear this, Grandma." That was when Margaret realized objects only hold value to the person attached to them. And for the next generation, they are often a burden. She also mentioned a statistic that struck me, that right now, about 1 in 40 people, which is more than 2% of the population, suffer from hoarding disorder. At the same time, more and more articles are being written about parents downsizing, only to discover their children do not want any of it. Margaret shared a story from her own family, when she spent months organizing her father's memorabilia cabinet, hoping her son would take some. But he only kept a few photos and refused the rest. She referred to a concept in psychology called the endowment effect, meaning people tend to overvalue the things they own. To you, it may be a treasure, but to someone else, it may just be a bulky item they don't know where to put. Margaret said this is a hard truth, but one we must accept. Not everything you cherish will be wanted by others. And when you let go, you are not losing the memory. You are only giving space back to yourself. Harsh truth number 5. There is no secret, only action. Margaret emphasized to me that on social media or in books, people can suggest dozens of decluttering methods, from the 4-box method of keep, donate, trash, or relocate, to the KonMari method of keeping only what sparks joy. They sound appealing, but the truth is, there is no hidden secret. All of those methods are meaningless if you do not start. Margaret said that when she was still working, she had the habit of reading a lot about home organization, but her house remained cluttered because she could not spare 15 minutes to begin. It was only after retirement that she forced herself, each day choosing just one drawer, setting a timer for 15 minutes, and stopping regardless of the result. Those small actions accumulated into a big change. She remembered a line from the book The 12-Week Year by Brian Moran. The biggest barrier between you and what you could achieve is not lack of information, ideas, or techniques, but lack of execution. Margaret said this felt like a wake-up call. She used to delay thinking she needed a whole day to clean, but in reality, just 15 minutes was enough to start. And every empty drawer became a motivation to continue. She reminded me that decluttering does not require perfection, nor a magic secret. What you need is the first action. The smaller, the better. This is the 5th harsh truth. There is no secret, only getting started. Harsh truth number 6. Clutter is a health risk. This is a truth Margaret always stressed because she spent 35 years in healthcare. She said clutter not only makes a home look messy, but also directly threatens health. She had seen a 76-year-old man break his hip just by tripping over a frayed old rug in a living room, crowded with chairs and boxes. Another elderly woman suffered from constant shortness of breath. Later, doctors discovered the cause was mold and dust hiding in closets stuffed with old clothes. Margaret said the human body, especially the elderly, cannot endure the hidden dangers in clutter. Piled up items narrow walkways, raising the risk of falls. Hidden corners become nests for dust and mold, leading to allergies and asthma. She recalled another patient living in an apartment so cramped that the kitchen walkway only allowed one person to squeeze through. When paramedics needed to bring in a stretcher, they had to move dozens of boxes first before getting the patient out. That image haunted Margaret for a long time. She said decluttering is not just for neatness, it is for survival. An airy home helps you walk safely, helps your lungs breathe easier, and reduces stress without you even realizing it. For her, this is a harsh but very clear truth. Clutter is not just an aesthetic problem, it is a health hazard, and every item you let go is one less health risk. Harsh truth number 7. Decluttering is emotional. not just physical. Margaret admitted to me that the hardest part was not moving a chair out of the room or dragging a trash bag outside, but facing the emotions that came when letting go of an item. She remembered the first time she opened her late husband's closet. The shirts he wore to work, the jacket they bought together on their Colorado trip, all made her cry. She sat on the floor for hours, hugging each shirt like holding on to a piece of her life. She said it was in that moment she understood decluttering is not just about the home, it is a process of healing. Letting go of an item sometimes means admitting that a chapter has ended. Many patients Margaret met faced the same situation. Some kept their mother's room untouched for 10 years, not daring to change a thing. Others turned their whole apartment into a memorial, leaving no room to live in the present. Margaret said crying is part of decluttering, and painful feelings are not a sign you are doing it wrong, but proof you are moving toward release. She emphasized that once you get through that moment, the room will not only be emptier, but your heart will be wider. This is the final harsh truth Margaret wanted to share. Decluttering is an emotional journey, and only when you allow yourself to go through it will you truly find relief. After these 7 harsh truths, Margaret Collins often ended with a gentle smile and her familiar line, "Decluttering is not about perfection. It is about creating a space where you can live easily, breathe easily, and reflect who you are today." I have heard that many times, but it always sinks deep. She reminded me that you do not need to become an extreme minimalist, nor compare yourself to anyone. Just start with 1 drawer, 1 box, 1 trash bag. Margaret believes each item given away is a piece of space returned to the present, an opportunity to live the rest of your life lighter. And I, as her friend who heard this story, want to pass it on to you. Remember, no one else but you can choose. You can choose the short-term hard of rolling up your sleeves, or the long-term hard of living in endless clutter. You can keep piling memories in every corner, or you can hold on to a few that truly matter and let your heart tell the rest. Ask yourself, what item today do you not use but still keep? Is it serving you, or are you serving it? And if you have listened this far, I believe you are ready. Start today. Just 15 minutes. Pick 1 small drawer. Let go of 3 things you no longer need. That is the first step, small but powerful, to begin your own decluttering journey. Thank you for staying until the end. Your support and presence are the motivation for me to continue sharing many more meaningful stories. And do not forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can meet again in the next videos. Together we will create homes that are tidy, safe, and filled with peace.